Okay, so let's get started. Uh, Thank you for the responses. Let's get started. Okay, let's start with the news lineup we have for the week. We have tomorrow, which is Monday. We have high impact news for Euro starting from 8:15, and then we have high impact news for GBP starting from 9:30, and then we also have another one for 6 p.m. On Tuesday, we really do not have high impact news on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have high impact news for HOD, Australian dollar, and the GBP. Um, yes, as early as 7:30 a.m. Okay, for everyone that trade in London session, this will have you might not even get affected by this. This will have settled in before you get into the market. So for Thursday, we have USD news for 12:30 p.m. On Friday, GBP news for 7 a.m. I kind of like all these 7 a.m. news. I mean, whatever it's unless you trade news though, whatever is going to happen, they will have settled in before you get into the market. So 12:30 p.m. for card news on Friday, and then so those are the major highlights of the news. So let's get into the market. So let me start with GBP. Sorry, let me start with Euro JPY. So the last time we had a conversation, okay, the chart is still even there. That was when I drew this that we are likely to see either this play out or that play out. Why is my screen not showing? What's happening? Why is it not showing? Hello, please confirm you can see my screen now. Hello? Okay, thank you for that. So at any point in time the screen goes off again, please let me know. Okay, so as I was saying, the last time we talked about Euro JPY, this was the scenarios that we anticipated, and then obviously this played out, and then if you had followed this strictly, you know, you'll have made good money. But of course, I expect you to do more. So obviously, on the daily time frame, we are now officially bullish. And why am I saying that? We've taken this place out. Look at this, taken out totally. So we're officially bullish. We are looking to buy and not to sell anymore. That is what that actually means. So, do we have any institutional uh, level that may attract price before shooting high? Sure, we do. Sure, we do. Let's look at it together. So, this is the so-called bottom. Now, you can see that this was the liquidity grab. Now, in retrospect, now I was saying it. If you go back to previous videos, you will see where I was talking about this. That for me, this look more like a liquidity grab. Only time will tell if it's a break of structure or liquidity. But from experience, you can tell what will most likely turn to a liquidity grab, and that's what we saw happening after. that happened, market shoot higher, came to retest a level, and then what did we see after? All the way up, not down, all the way up. And then, so if you look at it, there's still a huge gap here, a huge fair value gap here. There's still a very huge one here. There's a huge fair value gap here that the market needs to do something about. And then if we pull this up and say, obviously the fair value gap is below the 61.8, which is a good place to take a buy. So our golden buy in this new week will happen if we can see price retrace back into this place. If price can retrace back into this place, it will be an awesome buy to take. But like I said, we do not predict the market. We only point out possible scenarios and then prepare ourselves to take advantage of them when they play out. So that's my that's what I see from this market tomorrow. I might see something different. And if you have any contradictory opinion, please do well to share it on the group or share with me. So that's what I see. This is a fair value gap that need attention, and market will not leave it forever. So even on 1 hour time frame, we still have it as huge as this. So and then looking at it, we also have a breakout block somewhere here. You know, so it's a solid area that we expect price to retrace back into. So for me, I'll be waiting for price around that place. So let's move on. The next thing I'm going to look at, uh, let's get into the DXY. DXY. Daily time frame. So the dollar has been in a range in the last few days, this particular range, the last few days, but obviously in a downtrend, obviously a falling market. But you don't want to sell unless market give us a good opportunity. But then we don't have to waste that much of time on DXY because obviously you are not going to trade DXY. If this was a pair to trade, we'll be expecting price around here because we have two institutional level. We have a breaker block, we have a fair value gap, and it's also uh, around the a good premium level. So, but then all we need to do, or all we need the DXY pair to do, is to be able to give us direction of the dollar pair. So now that we know that market is bearish, predominantly bearish, even though the last 3 days before market closed was bullish. But we know predominantly market has been bearish. So let's go to gold, XAUUSD. So, so it's obvious, once DXY is selling, every pair that is against it, would be buying. It's fundamental information. So, and that explains what we've seen in gold in the last, few days. Let me go back to daily candle, and that is, that explains what we've seen in gold creating a new all-time high and all of that. So, what are we likely to see next? We are likely to see the continuation of this trend because, as long as dollar keep, falling. But before we can see this, we are likely to see markets retracing into a good level to be able to do, to be able to get enough momentum for the next, movement. So this is a good place for that. I mean, there are three confluence here. There's a breakout block, there's a fair value gap, and then there's a a long time, you know, key level. The all-time high of gold is also around this area. Market will most likely retrace and retest at least that all-time high before we see a significant movement upward. So for the meantime, if I go to 1 hour time frame, for the meantime, we might be looking for a sell into that area, and then and that's how you counter trade. You trade counter trend with wisdom. It might be dangerous, but you just have to know what you are doing and manage your risk. So, market will most likely retrace and then retest that old time, long time, all time high, and a few other confluence that have show around that same price range before we see something significantly up. So that said about gold, let's get into Bitcoin, BTC, USD. So, as against the rule of dollar is falling, anything against it should be rising. This obviously not showing that, and it happens like this once in a while. So, market has been falling despite dollar falling. There's a reason for that. So, what are we looking for in BTC? This market is chubby, and then I would say be careful with if you are trading, if you are buying BTC for for invest, you are in a good arena to buy. Let me state that. Is to start to buy, but if you are buying to trade short term, few days, few hours, whatever, you might want to stay at BTC for now. You might want to stay out of BTC for now. That's it. So trade other pairs if you must. Trade other pair. We have, I mean, a good number of alternatives in the market you can trade that would give you good money. So thank you so much for your attention and audience tonight. If you have questions or you have specific pairs or asset class you would like me to review on the call tonight, please drop it in the chat box or on the group so that we can quickly check that. In the absence of none, we will probably just call it a day tonight. So let me just give a few minutes for that. So, in the absence of questions and then pairs or asset class to review, thank you so much for joining me tonight on this call again. Do have a profitable week and see you same time next week. Bye bye.